I remember the announcement for Super Mario 3D World coming to Switch back in September's Mario Direct. It was great to reacquaint myself with some of the levels shown in that gameplay trailer, and it made me really excited to revisit the game on Switch. It feels a little bit strange to say I felt nostalgic for a game that came out in 2013, but that's definitely how I felt. 3D World was one of my favorite games on Wii U, and I was extremely happy to be getting a slicker version of the game, which would play in handheld mode as well as on my TV. As if getting one of my favorite Mario games of all time ported to Switch wasn't enough, what really piqued my interest was the reveal of the Bowser's Fury add-on. When it comes to the reveal of Bowser's Fury, the trailer left a lot up to the imagination. Our only clue to its identity was a pan through a mysterious dark world, which starred Cat Mario and a giant cat Belle. No specifics were explained, and we were left guessing. Was this a new set of Bowser-themed levels for 3D World? But it looks so vast. Maybe it was an open hub world? Something like from Mario 64, Sunshine, or Galaxy? Now, having had a chance to play through Bowser's Fury to 100% completion, I'd say that it's closer to the latter. What the final product reminds me of most, however, is a giant version of a kingdom from Odyssey. Although the Bowser's Fury map, Lake Lapcat, is considerably larger than any kingdom in Odyssey, the collection mechanic is similar, and presented in an open and uninterrupted way. In Bowser's Fury, you have free roam around the full world map, which consists of a series of islands complete with different biomes, all presenting their own platforming challenges. This all exists within one open world. There are no area select or load screens, and this is a first for the Mario series. Throughout the islands of Lake Lapcat, there are 100 cat shines, which are the main collectibles of this mode. Think moons in Mario Odyssey. And each area has 5 cat shine shards, which will give you an additional cat shine if you collect them all. Think pieces of heart from Legend of Zelda. Throughout each of the island areas, there are a handful of challenges from which you're able to earn cat shines. These challenges are listed out on screen, giving the player direction on what challenges they need to tackle to progress in the story. You can take on the challenges in any order, however some cat shines require help from the mode's namesake, Mr. Bowser himself, to reach. In most areas of the map, you'll notice Bowser blocks, which are unbreakable by Mario, and often contain surprises hidden behind them. The only way to break these Bowser blocks is by luring Bowser to break them with his giant fire blast, which he constantly aims at Mario. Bowser, possessed and amplified by a dark, unknown power, presumably the Fury, adds a very interesting element to this mode's open world style of gameplay. Once every 5 to 10 minutes, the giant dark Bowser appears to wreak havoc on the archipelago. His coming, signified by rainfall in the overworld, is not always welcome, but is a consistent gameplay element the player must always account for. For example, you might be in the middle of a platforming challenge present on one of the game's islands. Suddenly you might notice it start to rain. Shortly after, things take a turn for the worse. Blocks start falling from the sky, and Bowser is in constant pursuit of you with his fire blast. While the giant beam of fire being constantly aimed at Mario's position makes almost any level considerably more difficult, the blocks, once they land, give Mario some extra surface area to stand on, at times making a platform section easier than if Bowser was not present. The element of Bowser forces the player to make a decision. You'll find yourself asking, do I continue with the platforming level I was working on, dealing with the giant fire beam and perhaps getting some help from the metal boxes that Bowser rains down on me? Or do I switch gears and use the coming of Bowser as an opportunity to destroy some Bowser blocks that are blocking my path somewhere else? Bowser goes dormant again once a cat shine is collected or enough time has passed, so either method is a viable strategy, but the decision must be made quickly. This adds another layer to the flow of gameplay. You might be focusing on a particular challenge, but realize that it would be more optimal to have Bowser break some blocks instead, causing you to switch objectives on the fly. This breaks up the collectathon style gameplay and makes it seem far less linear. Collecting a certain number of cat shines unlocks several of the cat bells present across the overworld. These cat bells allow Mario to get a giant lion-style power-up, which allows him to take Bowser on for size. Cat bells lead to a series of boss fights with the Titan Bowser, which although grand in scale and visually impressive, leaves something to be desired in my opinion. Bowser's arrival can at times be a major pain, especially if you've been trying over and over again to complete a particularly difficult platforming section. During these moments, the coming of Bowser's storm can be extremely frustrating, essentially forcing you to take a step away, as his constant barrage would make an already difficult challenge near impossible. There were some moments when I definitely just wanted Bowser to go away, especially later in the game, when the remaining cat shines were becoming few and far between. In these situations, I was often forced just to wait out Bowser's onslaught until he went away on his own, and I could tackle the platforming section again with no interruption. Additionally, I felt that some of the cat shine challenges were too repetitive in nature. Since there's only 100 shines in total, having a few in the same style, such as lighting the lighthouse or breaking the Bowser blocks, became very samey over time. If there were more cat shines in total, and more variety between them, this wouldn't be a problem, but in Bowser's Fury, it led to some stale moments at certain instances. When talking about Bowser's Fury, I can't forget the inclusion of Bowser Jr. as Mario's partner for the adventure. Though a fun concept, I think his addition to the mode was unnecessary. It seems that Jr. was primarily included to add a co-op element, but I found this to be lackluster as a whole, and only truly entertaining for younger kids. When playing single player, Bowser Jr. can assist Mario by collecting coins, defeating enemies, and revealing items from some question mark graffiti you'll find on certain surfaces. These graffiti marks are triggered with the touchscreen, or by gyro pointer if you're on TV mode, and they usually reveal some underwhelming surprises, such as coins and power-ups for Mario to collect. Even on the lowest setting, I felt that Bowser Jr. helped out a little too much. There were certain occasions while platforming when I needed to plan out how to skillfully bypass a particular enemy, when, before I knew it, Bowser Jr. had already knocked the enemy out, allowing me to pass the section without a scratch. When it comes to Bowser Jr., my ideal setting would simply be switching him off completely, and I'm glad the developers gave us the option to do so. One major element unique to Bowser's Fury is the addition of the inventory system. Throughout the adventure, you're able to store the power-ups you collect in your inventory, up to 5 of each item. You can trigger these power-ups at any time by using the D-pad. So if you run into a section where, for example, the Tanuki suit would be useful, you can simply call one out from your inventory and take advantage of the power-up instantly. This inventory system was a joy to use, letting me freely experiment with different power-ups during each platforming section, and giving value to all the extra power-ups I happened to encounter while journeying around the islands. There were certain moments during Bowser's Fury where I couldn't help but feel amazed. For example, Mario jumping from the peak of a massive mountain, or free-falling off a bridge and using the propeller block to reach a collectible on the underside. Bowser's Fury brings an all-new sense of scale to the 3D Mario formula. The map is far bigger than any open area that Mario has ever explored before, yet not once did I feel fatigued or overwhelmed by its size. Despite the map having many water sections, traversal never felt slow due to the help of Mario's dinosaur friend Plessy making his way over from 3D World. Plessy's speed on the water made zooming through aquatic sections a blast, and thankfully, I never ended up trapped away from the mainland for too long, due to Plessy always spawning just a short distance away at any time I dropped into the water. This is a smart design feature that saved me quite a few long swims that would have certainly been a major annoyance. Rolling credits on Bowser's Fury takes about 3 hours, making it a bite-sized experience. However, collecting all 100 cat shines will likely double the runtime, making the full experience about 6 to 7 hours on average. Compared to Nintendo's other add-ons like Olimar and Louie's Side Story and Pikmin 3 Deluxe, Bowser's Fury is a pretty meaty chunk of bonus content, especially considering it brings some interesting and all-new elements to the 3D Mario style of gameplay. Bowser's Fury almost seems like a tech demo or proof of concept for what Mario might be like if it followed Zelda's footsteps into a true open-world game. Quite interestingly, Bowser's Fury might actually be a result of Nintendo testing the waters for a future Mario game, and if this is true, I'd certainly encourage them to continue with it. Not only did I have a ton of fun with Bowser's Fury, but I can think of several ways it could be improved or expanded to make it even more of a blast. I couldn't help but imagine what a larger map would look like. I'm imagining a game in the Bowser's Fury style, but with other moves and elements from Mario Odyssey, like the triple jump, or perhaps Cappy control. Plus, add that with being able to traverse an even grander body of water with Plessy, running through a massive desert on the Jaxi, or flying across the landscape on Glydon. It all seems to come together perfectly in my mind. I think some sort of middle ground between Bowser's Fury and Odyssey would be an amazing place to take the future of the series, and I can only hope Nintendo is working on something similar to that right now. Overall, if you are already a fan of Super Mario 3D World, or have yet to experience that game entirely, I think Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury would be a fantastic addition to your Nintendo Switch library. 3D World, although not massively changed from the Wii U original, is still fantastically fun. And though short and certainly not perfect, the taste of all new Mario that Nintendo serves up with Bowser's Fury is well worth a run through, and has only made me even more ravenous to see where our mustached plumber goes next on his adventures.